And that was the Hexa version 2 pod system. I am very pleased that I've got my name on it. Isn't that cool? Isn't that sweet? Thank you very much, Hexa. Let's crack on straight away, get on with styling and feel. Okay, so this is a super slender, simple looking, very smart looking pod system. Really comfortable in the hand. It is so small and slender that you don't even notice it. You don't even notice it's in your hand half the time. You just forget about it. I got one of these lovely little lanyards, which I've actually been using because you just forget that it's around your neck, to be honest. I've been using it quite a lot. I'll get on to another reason why I'm using it shortly. Styling and feel, yeah, it is what it is. It's well made, well built. It's very light. The pods click in nice and simple. You can, if you wanted to, you can whip this like that and the pod will fly out, but you have to do it with some force. The pod's not going to come out very easily. There is a slight magnet to it, so it's not going to come out that easily, which is great. Moving on to battery life. Battery life, 350 milliamp hour battery, and like you've seen, like I said on the animation at the start, about an hour to charge from dead to full. So even if you run out of juice during the day, just pop it on charge for a little while and you're good to go. So the battery life is excellent. It has lasted me a day most times, a day and a half, a day if I'm chugging it, and I have really been giving it a good go, and I'll show you the empty pods I've got. So I'll carry on, talk about the pods. 1.7 milliliter capacity. These aren't refillable. What you see is what you get. And you've got these very clever Feel coils. I call them coils. I would say it's more of an element. You saw on the down low, you get the little ceramic block, which deals with your wicking, and then right underneath that you've got your two little pins, and you've got this little Z kind of shaped element, and that's it. That's your coil, that's your wicking, and it does a fantastic job. It wicks beautifully. Haven't had any dry hits, haven't had any burnt flavors. The only way you're going to run out of flavor is when you run out of juice, and when that happens, you just know, you just sense there's no flavor there, there's nothing there. So you pop it out, put in a new one, simple as that. I'll put filling and leaking up here, which is normally what I talk about with pod systems. Obviously filling, this you don't need to fill it, it's already done. And leaking is the same, there's no leaking, nothing like that. One thing I will say is if you let the pod itself get too warm, if you leave it out in the sun, obviously that makes the liquid a bit runnier, and I have had a little bit of a spit back when it's been sat out in the sun. So obviously avoid that, keep it out of the sun. It's not good to keep batteries in the sun anyway. It's just one of those things. It was left in the van, got a bit warm, and that's one thing I noticed. Flavour and clouds, okay, let's give it a little bash. I've got I don't know what one I've got in this now. I've got the raspberry ice. I've got the raspberry ice in here. I'm going to talk more about the flavours in a minute. So raspberry ice is one of my favourites. Let's give it a little bash. So yeah, there's no point talking about vapour production because it's just a little puff, a bit like a cigarette. There's a few important things I want to talk about though. The first thing is on the side of this, you get these two little airflow holes. Now, I find that a bit too loose for me. So I've been making good use of this because I can use this lanyard and cover both them holes completely. And I get a really nice restrictive vape. That's exactly how I'd like it. That is the experience that I'm after when I'm using a pod kit. And it's not easy to get that, I've found. Some of the pod kits, you just can't get that kind of perfect restriction that I'm after. And with this, thanks to this little lanyard, I can. Obviously, you can use your fingers and cover up the holes, but this has been ideal with this little lanyard on. Right, I'll briefly talk to you about the flavours. Now, the first thing to say is I'm not a big tobacco fan at all. And the tobacco and the menthol tobacco do a good job. They're just not my cup of tea. I'm just not really into them. The other flavours, you've got the straight menthol flavour. That's spot on for me. Really enjoyed that. I've flown through them pods. They were excellent. I really like them. So if you're a menthol fan, they're good. It's not too cold. It's not going to freeze you and give you brain freeze. It's just right, nice and gentle. Gives you a little bit more of a throat hit. Beautiful. Spoken about tobacco menthol. Tobacco menthol is all right, but again, yeah, I'm not too keen on that. The mango and the raspberry ice are both very good flavours for a pod system. They're very good. They're not mouth filling, you know, sitting on your tongue for an hour, but they are a nice gentle flavour on the way in and on the way out, so they're really nice. I generally prefer the 10 milligrams. I find the 20 milligrams are too much of a throat hit for me. That's just personal preference at the end of the day. So you might prefer the 20 milligrams, you might enjoy a bit more of that. Or because you've got this kind of 50-50 freebase nic salt mix, you're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting the freebase throat hit, but you're getting the nic salt smoothness. So they've done a really great job with the liquids, and even though I'm not a big fan of the tobacco ones, I have been quite impressed with the delivery and the experience, and that's the big thing about this. So I'm going to move on to final thoughts. Okay, the first thing about final thoughts is I'm going to quickly show you. I've been giving this a go for about a week. Now the pods have lasted me, usually they last about a day and a half, depending on how far you go. So I've got here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the one I'm on at the minute, 6, and I've got one that's about halfway through. So about 7 pods. So I've really been giving it a good go. Now they are 99% empty. There's nothing in that. So I have really been giving this a good go, really trying to enjoy the flavours, really experience it, and it has been a great experience. The battery life is excellent. The flavours from the pods have been great. Like I say, I've been on the 10 milligrams and they've been absolutely perfect for me. The winner for this pod kit is first of all the simplicity. Now I didn't think I'd be a big fan of these kind of enclosed pod systems, because at the end of the day, once you run out of juice, you just got to chuck it away, which is a bit of a con that you're throwing away rubbish, blah 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 blah. But for someone who's trying to quit cigarettes and get into vaping, this for me is right up there, one of the best, because it's the experience you're getting. It's that cigarette-like experience, but you're getting the flavour, and that's why I really like the raspberry ice and the mango. Get people off the tobacco flavours, get them onto enjoying the flavours, and that's what this does really well. It really is a very enjoyable vape. I've been loving it. The only thing I will say at the minute is I'm struggling to find places where I can get hold of the raspberry ice, or the raspberry frost and the menthol. So hopefully they'll be available soon. I've been looking all over the place. I can get them online abroad, but I can't seem to get them from anywhere in the UK, which is a bit of a shame. Now, obviously that means I've been looking for them, so I'm obviously going to be keeping this on me. It is a cracking little pod, it really is. I want to thank Hexa for sending me this overview. Well, not send it to me, actually gave it to me at Expo, and thank you so much for putting my name on it. That is absolutely fantastic. So thank you very much to those guys. Really appreciate it. I hope that was helpful, guys. If it was, hit that like button or subscribe if you fancy it. Click that little bell and you get notified when all my videos come out. I'm FlatCap Vaper. Thanks for watching.